Standing before a massive rock face, you run your fingers over the weathered surface, tracing lines and shapes carved by hands long gone. These are not random scratches, they are stories, carefully etched into stone by ancient people who wanted their voices to echo across the ages. What were they trying to tell us? What secrets do these symbols hold? From the sun-baked deserts of the American Southwest to the wind-swept cliffs of Scandinavia, petroglyphs, ancient rock carvings, have puzzled historians, archaeologists, and curious minds for centuries. Today, we're going to explore these enigmatic messages, peeling back the layers of time to uncover their hidden meanings. Together, we'll decode the symbols, unravel the mysteries, and step into the minds of those who left these enduring marks. By the end of this journey, you won't just see petroglyphs as art, you'll see them as a bridge to our shared human past, a testament to the creativity, spirituality, and resilience of those who came before us. So, are you ready to unlock the secrets of these ancient stones? Let's begin. Carved into cliffs, boulders, and cave walls, petroglyphs are more than just ancient graffiti. They are a window into the lives and minds of our ancestors. These intricate designs, created by carefully chipping away at rock surfaces, were made using tools like stone hammers, sharpened bones, or even harder rocks. Unlike paintings, which can fade or wash away over time, petroglyphs endure, surviving centuries of weathering and erosion. That's why they're often found in some of the most remote and rugged places on Earth, from the arid deserts of the American Southwest to the lush valleys of Scandinavia. But what exactly were these carvings meant to convey? Some depict animals, bison, deer, or whales, capturing the creatures that were central to survival. Others show human figures, often in poses that suggest hunting, dancing, or rituals. And then there are the abstract symbols, spirals, circles, and lines that seem to hint at deeper meanings, perhaps representing the sun, the stars, or even spiritual concepts. What's truly remarkable is how widespread this practice was. From the deserts of Africa to the mountains of Asia, nearly every ancient culture left behind these stone messages. While the styles and symbols vary from place to place, the act of carving into rock seems to have been a universal impulse, a way for people to say, "We were here." This is what mattered to us, so why did they go to such lengths to create these enduring works? Some scholars believe petroglyphs served as a form of storytelling, preserving myths, histories, or important events for future generations. Others think they were part of spiritual or ceremonial practices, acting as a bridge between the physical and the divine. And then there's the idea that they were territorial markers, signaling to others, "This land is ours." Whatever their purpose, one thing is clear: these carvings were deeply meaningful to the people who made them. As we look at these ancient symbols today, we're not just seeing art, we're seeing a connection. A connection to the people who lived thousands of years before us, who faced challenges, celebrated triumphs, and sought to leave their mark on the world. And while we may never fully understand every line, every shape, or every symbol, we can still appreciate the effort and intention behind them. These carvings are a reminder that, no matter how much time passes, the human desire to communicate, to create, and to endure remains unchanged. One of the most fascinating aspects of petroglyphs is their sheer age. These ancient carvings aren't just hundreds or even thousands of years old. Some date back tens of thousands of years, making them among the oldest forms of human expression we've discovered. In Africa, particularly in places like the Sahara Desert, archaeologists have uncovered petroglyphs that depict animals and human figures, offering glimpses into a time when the landscape was far greener and more hospitable. Similarly, in Australia, the rock art of Indigenous peoples, some of which is estimated to be over 40,000 years old, tells stories of survival, spirituality, and connection to the land. Creating these carvings was no small feat. Imagine standing under the blazing sun or in the chill of a cave, carefully chipping away at solid rock using nothing more than a stone hammer or a sharpened bone. The effort required to carve even a single symbol would have been immense, which raises an important question. Why go to such lengths? For ancient peoples, time and energy were precious resources, so the decision to create petroglyphs must have been driven by something deeply significant. Scholars have debated the purpose of these carvings for decades. One compelling theory is that petroglyphs served as territorial markers, a way for groups to claim land or warn others away. Think of them as ancient no trespassing signs etched into stone for all to see. On the other hand, many researchers believe these carvings were tied to spiritual or ritual practices. Spirals, for example, might represent the journey of the soul or the cycles of nature, while depictions of animals could symbolize totems or deities. What's truly striking is how these carvings vary from one culture to another. In the American Southwest, you might find intricate geometric patterns and animal figures, while in Scandinavia, the carvings often focus on ships, warriors, and celestial bodies. Despite these differences, there's a common thread: the universal human desire to communicate, to leave a mark, and to connect with something greater than oneself. This diversity in style and subject matter speaks to the creativity and adaptability of ancient peoples. Whether they were marking territory, honoring the divine, or simply telling a story, petroglyphs remind us that art has always been a fundamental part of what it means to be human. And as we study these ancient symbols today, we're not just decoding their meanings, we're uncovering the shared impulses that unite us across time and space. Petroglyphs are far more than ancient carvings. They are cultural time capsules, preserving the beliefs, values, and daily experiences of the people who made them. Each symbol, each figure, tells a story about the world as they saw it, offering us a rare glimpse into their lives. Take, for instance, the petroglyphs created by Native American tribes. Scattered across the American Southwest, these carvings often feature hunting scenes, spiritual beings, and celestial events like eclipses or comets. These images weren't just decorative, they were deeply meaningful, reflecting a profound connection to the natural world and the cosmos. For these ancient peoples, the land, the sky, and the creatures they hunted were intertwined with their identity and spirituality, and their carvings served as a way to honor and document that relationship. In contrast, the petroglyphs of Scandinavia, particularly those from the Viking era, tell a different but equally compelling story. Here, the carvings are dominated by images of ships, warriors, and gods like Odin and Thor. These symbols speak to a culture defined by exploration, warfare, and mythology. The ships, often depicted with intricate details, hint at the importance of seafaring in Viking life, while the warriors and deities reflect their beliefs in honor, bravery, and the afterlife. These petroglyphs weren't just art, they were a way to pass down legends, celebrate heroes, and connect with the divine. What's fascinating is how these carvings, despite their differences, share a common purpose: to communicate something vital about the culture that created them. Whether it's a Native American depiction of a bison hunt or a Viking carving of a longship, these images were a way to preserve knowledge, share stories, and affirm identity. They were a language without words, a way for people to say, "This is who we are and this is what matters to us." By studying these cultural artifacts, we're not just decoding symbols, we're piecing together the narratives of societies that have long since vanished. We're learning about their struggles, their triumphs, and their worldview. And in doing so, we're reminded of the universal human desire to leave a mark, to tell a story, and to connect with something greater than ourselves. These ancient carvings are more than just art, they are a testament to the enduring power of culture and the timeless need to be remembered. Decoding the symbols etched into ancient stone is like trying to read a book in a language no one has spoken for thousands of years. Without a Rosetta Stone to guide us, researchers must piece together meaning from fragments of evidence, relying on a mix of science, intuition, and cultural context. One of the most effective tools in this process is ethnographic research, studying the traditions and beliefs of modern indigenous communities whose ancestors may have created these carvings. For example, the Hopi people of the American Southwest use spiral symbols in their art to represent the journey of life and the cycles of nature. This insight has helped archaeologists interpret similar spirals found in ancient petroglyphs, suggesting that these symbols may have held a universal significance across time and cultures. But not all symbols are so straightforward. Animal figures, for instance, can be open to multiple interpretations. A carving of a bison might represent a successful hunt, a spiritual totem, or even a warning about dangerous predators in the area. To unravel these meanings, researchers often look for patterns, recurring motifs that appear across different sites. If the same animal shows up repeatedly alongside human figures holding weapons, for example, it's reasonable to infer that hunting played a significant role in the lives of the people who made these carvings. However, decoding petroglyphs isn't just about logic and analysis, it also requires a healthy dose of imagination. Unlike written languages which follow specific rules and structures, these symbols often convey ideas through abstraction. A single line might represent a river, a journey, or a boundary depending on its context. This ambiguity is both frustrating and fascinating, as it invites us to think creatively about what these ancient artists were trying to communicate. What makes this process so challenging and so rewarding is that there's rarely a single correct answer. A spiral might symbolize the sun in one culture and the soul's journey in another. An animal carving could be a practical guide for hunters or a spiritual emblem for shamans. This multiplicity of meanings reminds us that petroglyphs are more than just historical artifacts. They are windows into the minds of people who saw the world in ways we can only begin to understand. By combining archaeology, anthropology, and a touch of creativity, researchers continue to chip away at the mysteries of these ancient symbols. And while we may never fully decode every carving, each new discovery brings us closer to understanding the people who left these messages behind. It's a reminder that, even across the vast expanse of time, we are still connected by the universal human desire to communicate, to create, and to be remembered. Creating petroglyphs wasn't just an act of artistic expression, it was a testament to human ingenuity and resourcefulness. Imagine standing before a massive rock face with nothing but simple tools in hand. The artists who made these carvings didn't have modern chisels or power tools. Instead, they relied on what nature provided: stones, bones, and antlers. These materials were painstakingly shaped into tools capable of chipping away at solid rock, one strike at a time. The process was labor-intensive, requiring not only physical strength but also meticulous precision. One of the most common techniques used was pecking, where the artist would strike the rock surface repeatedly with a pointed tool, gradually creating grooves and patterns. This method was particularly effective on softer rocks like sandstone or limestone, where the repeated blows could break away small pieces of the surface. For harder rocks such as granite or basalt, the process was even more demanding, requiring tools made from even harder materials like quartz or flint. But pecking wasn't the only method. Some artists used a technique called abrasion, where they rubbed the rock with a harder stone to create smooth, polished lines. This method was especially useful for creating fine details or intricate patterns, as it allowed for greater control over the depth and shape of the carvings. Think of it as sanding down wood, but on a much larger and more labor-intensive scale. The choice of tools and techniques often depended on the type of rock and the desired effect. Softer rocks might allow for quicker work, but they also required careful handling to avoid accidental damage. Harder rocks, while more durable, demanded more effort and time. This adaptability speaks volumes about the skill and creativity of these ancient artists. They didn't just work with what they had, they mastered it, turning raw materials into tools of expression and meaning. What's truly remarkable is how these techniques have stood the test of time. Even after thousands of years, the carvings remain crisp and clear, a testament to the durability of both the materials and the methods used. The next time you see a petroglyph, take a moment to appreciate not just the artistry, but the sheer effort and innovation that went into its creation. These carvings are more than just messages in stone. They are a celebration of human creativity and perseverance, etched into the very fabric of the earth. From the sun-scorched deserts of the American Southwest to the rugged cliffs of northern Europe, petroglyphs are scattered across some of the most remote and awe-inspiring landscapes on Earth. These ancient carvings aren't just hidden in isolated corners, they're often found in places of striking natural beauty, adding to their mystique and allure. Let's take a journey to some of the world's most famous petroglyph sites, where the stories of ancient civilizations are etched into stone for all to see. In the United States, Newspaper Rock in Utah is a treasure trove of ancient art. This massive sandstone panel, covered in over 600 carvings, is like a prehistoric newspaper chronicling the lives and beliefs of the Native American tribes who lived here over 2,000 years ago. The carvings depict everything from bison and deer to human figures and abstract symbols, each one a piece of a puzzle that tells the story of a people deeply connected to their environment. Nearby, in New Mexico, the Petroglyph National Monument stretches across 17 miles of volcanic rock, featuring over 24,000 images carved by Native Americans and Spanish settlers. Walking through this site feels like stepping into a gallery of ancient history where every carving has a story to tell. Across the Atlantic, the altar rock art in Norway offers a completely different perspective. Situated within the Arctic Circle, this UNESCO World Heritage Site features carvings that date back as far as 7,000 years. The images here are dominated by scenes of hunting, fishing, and shamanic rituals, reflecting the lives of the ancient peoples who thrived in this harsh, icy environment. Moose, reindeer, and bears are common motifs, alongside human figures engaged in activities that reveal their close relationship with nature. In Italy, the Valcamonica carvings provide yet another glimpse into the past. Nestled in the Lombardy region, this UNESCO site boasts over 140,000 carvings spread across several valleys. The images here are strikingly diverse, ranging from warriors and weapons to geometric patterns and spirals. Many of these carvings are thought to represent the spiritual and social lives of the Camoni, an ancient people who inhabited this region during the Iron Age. The sheer scale and variety of the Valcamonica carvings make it one of the most significant petroglyph sites in the world. What's remarkable about these sites is not just their artistic value, but their ability to transport us back in time. Each carving is a snapshot of a moment in history, a glimpse into the lives of people who lived in very different worlds from our own. Whether it's the hunting scenes of Altar, the spiritual symbols of Valcamonica, or the intricate stories of Newspaper Rock, these sites remind us of the universal human need to communicate, to create, and to leave a mark on the world. Visiting these places today, you can't help but feel a sense of connection to the people who made them. They may have lived thousands of years ago, but their voices still echo through the stone, inviting us to listen, to learn, and to wonder. These petroglyphs are more than just ancient art, they are timeless messages, waiting for us to decode their secrets and carry their stories forward. Theories about why ancient peoples created petroglyphs are as varied and fascinating as the carvings themselves. Scholars and researchers have spent decades piecing together clues, trying to understand the motivations behind these enduring works of art. One compelling idea is that petroglyphs served as practical tools, ancient maps or markers to guide travelers through unfamiliar terrain. In regions like the American Southwest, where vast deserts stretch for miles, carvings depicting landmarks, water sources, or even celestial patterns could have been invaluable for navigation. Imagine standing in the middle of a barren landscape, searching for the next oasis. A simple carving on a rock face could mean the difference between survival and disaster. But not all petroglyphs were about practicality. Many researchers believe these carvings played a central role in spiritual or ceremonial practices. For ancient peoples, the natural world was deeply intertwined with the divine. Carvings of animals, for instance, might have been part of rituals to ensure a successful hunt or to honor the spirits of the creatures they relied on for survival. Similarly, symbols like spirals or circles could represent the cycles of life, the seasons, or even celestial events like eclipses. These carvings weren't just art, they were a way to connect with the unseen forces that shaped their world. Another theory suggests that petroglyphs were a form of storytelling, preserving myths, histories, or important events for future generations. In a time before written language, these carvings could have been the equivalent of a history book passed down through the ages. A depiction of a battle, a migration, or a celestial event might have been a way to commemorate a significant moment in a community's history. And then there's the idea that petroglyphs were expressions of artistic creativity, a way for individuals to leave their mark, to say, "I was here and this is what I saw." The truth is, petroglyphs likely served multiple purposes, varying by culture, time period, and individual artist. What might have been a territorial marker in one region could have been a spiritual symbol in another. Some carvings might have been deeply personal, while others were created for the community as a whole. This complexity is part of what makes petroglyphs so captivating. They resist simple explanations, inviting us to explore the many layers of meaning behind each line and shape. As we consider these theories, it's important to remember that ancient peoples didn't see the world the way we do. For them, the boundaries between the practical, the spiritual, and the artistic were often blurred. A carving of a deer might have been both a guide for hunters and an offering to the spirits of the forest. A spiral might have represented the journey of the soul and the turning of the seasons. By embracing this multifaceted view, we can begin to appreciate the richness and depth of these ancient messages, each one a window into a worldview that's both foreign and deeply familiar. Ultimately, the theories behind petroglyph creation remind us of the universal human need to communicate, to create, and to make sense of the world around us. Whether they were maps, prayers, stories, or art, these carvings were a way for ancient peoples to connect with each other, with their environment, and with something greater than themselves. And as we study them today, we're not just decoding symbols, we're rediscovering the threads that connect us all across time and culture. Long before telescopes or star charts, ancient peoples looked to the skies with wonder and curiosity, charting the movements of celestial bodies with remarkable precision. And some of their most enduring records of these observations can be found not in books or scrolls, but in stone. Across the globe, petroglyphs have been discovered that seem to depict astronomical events, eclipses, comets, and even constellations. These carvings offer a tantalizing glimpse into the minds of ancient astronomers, who used the tools they had to document the heavens above. One of the most striking examples comes from Chaco Canyon in New Mexico, where a spiral-shaped petroglyph is believed to record a solar eclipse that occurred in the year 1097. On the day of the eclipse, sunlight passing through a nearby rock formation casts a dagger-like shadow directly onto the carving, aligning perfectly with the spiral's center. This phenomenon, which repeats every 18 years, suggests that the creators of this petroglyph had not only witnessed the eclipse but also understood its cyclical nature. It's a remarkable feat of observation and ingenuity, capturing a fleeting moment in time and preserving it for generations to come. Similarly, in the Lascaux caves of France, paintings that date back over 17,000 years include symbols thought to represent the Pleiades star cluster. Known as the Seven Sisters, this group of stars has been significant to cultures around the world, often associated with agricultural cycles and seasonal changes. The presence of these symbols in such an ancient site hints at a deep connection between the people of Lascaux and the cosmos, as if they were mapping the heavens to better understand their place within it. These astronomical petroglyphs challenge the notion that ancient peoples were disconnected from the natural world. On the contrary, they reveal a sophisticated understanding of celestial patterns, suggesting that stargazing was more than just a pastime. It was a way to navigate, to predict, and to find meaning in the world around them. For example, some carvings in Scandinavia depict what appear to be constellations, while others in Australia show star maps that align with local landscapes, possibly serving as guides for travelers or markers for ceremonial sites. What's truly fascinating is how these carvings reflect a universal human fascination with the night sky. Whether it's the spiral of Choco Canyon, the stars of Lascaux, or the constellations of Scandinavia, these petroglyphs remind us that the desire to understand the cosmos is as old as humanity itself. They weren't just recording events, they were seeking to make sense of the vast, mysterious universe, using the tools and knowledge they had to leave a lasting mark on the world. As we study these ancient astronomical records, we're not just learning about the stars, we're learning about the people who watched them. Their carvings are a testament to the power of observation, the drive to explore, and the enduring human need to find meaning in the patterns of the sky. And in doing so, they invite us to look up just as they did, and wonder at the same celestial wonders that have captivated humanity for millennia. In many ancient cultures, the line between the physical world and the spiritual realm was far more fluid than it is today. For shamans, spiritual leaders, and healers, this boundary was not a barrier but a gateway. These individuals were seen as intermediaries between the human and spirit worlds, capable of traveling into mystical realms to bring back knowledge, healing, or guidance. And it's here, in the intersection of spirituality and artistry, that we find some of the most intriguing petroglyphs. Take, for example, the carvings that depict human figures with animal features, a recurring motif across many petroglyph sites. These hybrid figures, often referred to as the ryanthropes, might represent shamans in the midst of transformation, embodying the spirits of animals to gain their strength, wisdom, or abilities. In altered states of consciousness achieved through rituals, fasting, or the use of natural substances, shamans reported visions of merging with animals or otherworldly beings. These experiences were deeply personal, yet they were also communal, shared through the act of carving these visions into stone. The abstract designs found alongside these figures, spirals, zigzags, and intricate patterns, could be visual representations of the shaman's journey. Spirals, for instance, might symbolize the cyclical nature of life, death, and rebirth, or the winding path into the spirit world. Zigzags could represent lightning, a powerful force often associated with divine energy, or the chaotic, unpredictable nature of the trance state itself. These symbols weren't just decorative, they were a language of the sacred, a way to capture the ineffable and make it tangible. Some researchers believe that these petroglyphs served as a form of spiritual communication, a way for shamans to share their visions with others or to invoke supernatural powers. Imagine a shaman standing before a newly carved image, using it as a focal point for rituals or ceremonies. The act of creating the carving might have been part of the ritual itself, a way to channel spiritual energy into the physical world. And for those who viewed the carvings, they could have been a source of guidance, protection, or inspiration, a reminder of the unseen forces that shaped their lives. What's particularly fascinating is how these spiritual themes appear across cultures and continents. In the American Southwest, petroglyphs depicting shamanic figures are often found near water sources or other significant natural features, suggesting a connection between the spiritual and the physical landscape. In Scandinavia, similar carvings of human-animal hybrids are linked to myths of shape-shifting gods and spirits, reflecting a shared belief in the transformative power of the shamanic journey. By studying these carvings, we're not just uncovering ancient beliefs, we're gaining insight into the human experience itself, the desire to connect with something greater, to explore the mysteries of existence, is as old as humanity. And in these petroglyphs, we see that desire expressed in stone, a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit to seek, to create, and to transcend. These carvings invite us to look beyond the surface, to consider not just what they depict, but what they represent. They remind us that art, spirituality, and the search for meaning are deeply intertwined, and that even in the most ancient of times, people were grappling with questions that still resonate with us today. Through the eyes of the shaman, we glimpse a world where the boundaries between the seen and the unseen blur, and where the act of creation itself becomes a sacred act. Before the invention of writing, how did ancient peoples preserve their stories, their histories, and their beliefs? One answer lies in the intricate carvings we call petroglyphs. These ancient images, etched into stone, may have served as some of humanity's earliest forms of storytelling, capturing narratives that words alone could not convey. Imagine a time when oral traditions were the primary way knowledge was shared, stories passed down from generation to generation, often around flickering fires under vast starry skies. Petroglyphs could have been a way to anchor these stories in something tangible, something enduring. Take, for instance, the petroglyphs found in the Dampier archipelago off the coast of Western Australia. This site, one of the richest collections of rock art in the world, is thought to depict scenes from the Dreamtime, a foundational concept in Aboriginal mythology that explains the creation of the world and the interconnectedness of all living things. The carvings here show human figures, animals, and intricate patterns, each one a piece of a larger narrative. For the Aboriginal people, these petroglyphs weren't just art. They were a way to preserve sacred stories, ensuring that the wisdom of the Dreamtime would endure long after the storytellers themselves were gone. But storytelling through petroglyphs wasn't limited to mythology. Complex scenes of hunts, battles, and rituals found at sites around the world suggest that these carvings also served as historical records. In the American Southwest, petroglyphs depict hunters pursuing bison, warriors engaged in combat, and dancers performing ceremonial rites. These images may have been a way to commemorate significant events, passing down knowledge of survival techniques, territorial conflicts, or spiritual practices. In a world without written records, these carvings were a way to say, "This happened, and this is why it matters." What's fascinating is how these stories vary from one culture to another, yet share a common purpose: to connect people to their past, their environment, and each other. In Scandinavia, petroglyphs of ships and warriors tell tales of exploration and conquest, while in Africa, carvings of animals and human figures reflect a deep reverence for the natural world. Each culture used the medium of stone to express its unique worldview, yet the underlying impulse was the same: to create something that would outlast memory, something that could speak across generations. These carvings remind us that storytelling is more than just entertainment. It's a way to make sense of the world, to share knowledge, and to build community. By studying petroglyphs, we're not just decoding ancient symbols, we're rediscovering the universal human need to tell stories, to connect, and to leave a legacy. And in doing so, we're reminded that the stories we tell today are part of a tradition that stretches back thousands of years, etched not just in stone, but in the very fabric of who we are. Despite surviving for thousands of years, petroglyphs are not invincible. these ancient carvings, etched into stone by hands long gone, now face threats that could erase them from the face of the earth. One of the most significant challenges is erosion. Over time, wind, rain, and temperature fluctuations can wear away rock surfaces, causing once sharp carvings to fade into obscurity. In some cases, entire panels of petroglyphs have crumbled, leaving only fragments behind. Imagine standing before a rock face that once held a vivid depiction of a bison hunt or a celestial event, only to find that the story it told has been erased by the relentless forces of nature. But erosion isn't the only danger. Human activity, whether intentional or accidental, poses a serious risk to these ancient treasures. Vandalism, in particular, is a heartbreaking problem. Some individuals, driven by ignorance or disregard, deface petroglyphs with graffiti or even attempt to remove pieces of the rock as souvenirs. These acts not only destroy irreplaceable cultural heritage, but also sever a vital connection to our shared past. In other cases, development and urban expansion encroach on petroglyph sites, threatening to bury these ancient messages under modern infrastructure. Climate change adds another layer of complexity to the preservation challenge. Rising temperatures, shifting weather patterns, and increased frequency of extreme events like wildfires can accelerate the deterioration of rock surfaces. In regions where petroglyphs are already exposed to harsh conditions, these changes could spell disaster for carvings that have endured for millennia. For example, in the American Southwest, prolonged droughts and intense heat waves are causing rocks to crack and crumble, putting countless petroglyphs at risk. Efforts to protect these ancient carvings are ongoing, but they're not without their challenges. One common approach is to install protective barriers, such as fences or shelters, to shield petroglyphs from both natural elements and human interference. In some cases, sites are monitored by cameras or patrols to deter vandalism and ensure that visitors respect these sacred spaces. Digital documentation has also emerged as a powerful tool for preservation. By creating high-resolution 3D scans of petroglyphs, researchers can capture every detail of the carvings, ensuring that their stories are preserved even if the originals are lost to time. However, these preservation efforts must strike a delicate balance between protecting petroglyphs and allowing people to experience them. After all, these carvings were meant to be seen, to communicate, to inspire, and to connect. Restricting access too much might preserve the physical integrity of the site, but it could also alienate the very communities that hold these carvings sacred. On the other hand, opening sites to the public without adequate safeguards risks irreversible damage. Finding a middle ground is no easy task, but it's essential if we want to honor the intentions of the ancient artists who created these carvings. As we grapple with these challenges, it's worth reflecting on what's at stake. Petroglyphs are more than just ancient art. They are a bridge to our shared human history, a testament to the creativity and resilience of those who came before us. Losing them would mean losing a part of ourselves, a connection to the stories, beliefs, and experiences that shaped who we are today. By working together through research, conservation, and education, we can ensure that these ancient messages endure, not just as relics of the past, but as living reminders of the enduring power of human expression. The allure of petroglyphs isn't confined to the past. Their mysterious symbols and profound meanings continue to captivate modern creators across a wide range of fields. In recent years, these ancient carvings have found new life in contemporary art, literature, and even digital media, proving that their messages are as relevant today as they were thousands of years ago. Artists, for instance, have drawn inspiration from the bold lines and abstract patterns of petroglyphs, incorporating them into paintings, sculptures, and public murals. These works often serve as a bridge between ancient and modern, inviting viewers to reflect on the enduring power of human creativity. writers, too, have been drawn to the enigmatic nature of petroglyphs, using them as central themes in novels, poetry, and essays. Some authors explore the idea of these carvings as a lost language, weaving tales of adventure and discovery around the quest to decode their secrets. Others use them as metaphors for connection, symbols of humanity's shared history and the timeless need to communicate. In the realm of film and television, petroglyphs have appeared as plot devices, mysterious artifacts that hold the key to ancient mysteries or hidden knowledge. Their presence in these stories adds a layer of depth and intrigue, reminding audiences of the enduring fascination with the unknown. Video game designers have also embraced petroglyphs, incorporating their imagery into virtual worlds that players can explore. In games like Assassin's Creed or Horizon Zero Dawn, petroglyphs often serve as clues or puzzles, blending ancient art with cutting-edge technology. These digital interpretations not only introduce a new generation to the beauty of petroglyphs, but also reimagine them as interactive experiences where players can engage with the symbols in ways that were never possible before. For indigenous communities, petroglyphs hold an even deeper significance. Many groups see these carvings as a vital link to their ancestors, a way to reclaim and preserve cultural heritage that was nearly lost to colonization and modernization. Efforts to document and protect petroglyphs often involve collaboration between indigenous elders and younger generations, creating opportunities for storytelling and education. Through workshops, cultural events, and school programs, these communities are ensuring that the knowledge and traditions associated with petroglyphs are passed down, keeping their stories alive for future generations. What makes these modern interpretations so powerful is their ability to honor the past while speaking to the present. Whether it's a mural on a city wall, a scene in a blockbuster film, or a lesson taught by an indigenous elder, petroglyphs continue to inspire, educate, and connect. They remind us that art is not just a reflection of its time, it's a conversation that spans centuries, inviting us to listen, learn, and contribute our own voices. By embracing petroglyphs in these diverse ways, we're not just preserving ancient art, we're celebrating the creativity and resilience of the human spirit. These carvings, etched into stone by hands long gone, still have the power to move us, to challenge us, and to remind us of the threads that connect us all. And in doing so, they invite us to imagine what messages we might leave behind for those who come after us. The story of petroglyphs is not just one of ancient art, it's deeply tied to the living cultures of indigenous peoples around the world. Many of these carvings are found on lands that have been home to indigenous communities for thousands of years, making them not only archaeological treasures but also vital parts of cultural heritage. For the descendants of the people who created these carvings, petroglyphs are more than historical artifacts. They are sacred symbols, ancestral messages, and enduring connections to their identity. When it comes to studying and preserving these ancient sites, collaboration with indigenous communities is essential. These communities hold invaluable knowledge about the meanings, traditions, and stories behind the carvings passed down through generations. By involving them in conservation efforts, we not only ensure that their heritage is respected, but also gain a richer, more nuanced understanding of the petroglyphs themselves. It's a partnership that honors the past while empowering the present. Take, for example, the work being done at the Dampier Archipelago in Australia. Here, the Murujuga Aboriginal Corporation works alongside archaeologists to protect and interpret the thousands of petroglyphs scattered across the landscape. For the Murujuga people, these carvings are part of the Dreamtime, a sacred narrative that explains the creation of the world and their place within it. By combining traditional knowledge with modern research, they're creating a model for how conservation can be both scientifically rigorous and culturally respectful. Similarly, in the American Southwest, tribes like the Hopi and Navajo have been instrumental in preserving petroglyph sites on their ancestral lands. Their insights have helped researchers decode symbols that might otherwise remain a mystery, offering interpretations that go beyond the archaeological record. For instance, spiral patterns that might be dismissed as mere decoration are understood by these communities to represent the journey of life or the cycles of nature. This kind of collaboration doesn't just preserve the carvings, it breathes life into them, connecting the past to the present in meaningful ways. However, this approach isn't without its challenges. Many indigenous communities have faced centuries of displacement, marginalization, and the erasure of their cultural practices. Asking them to share their knowledge requires trust, respect, and a commitment to addressing these historical injustices. It's not enough to simply consult with indigenous groups. True collaboration means giving them a central role in decision-making, ensuring that their voices shape how petroglyphs are studied, preserved, and shared with the world. The benefits of this partnership extend far beyond the petroglyphs themselves. By centering indigenous perspectives, we're not just preserving ancient art, we're fostering a deeper appreciation for the cultures that created it. We're also challenging the notion that history is something static and distant, inviting us to see it as a living, evolving story that continues to shape our world today. In the end, the story of petroglyphs is a story of connection between past and present, between science and tradition, between cultures and communities. By working together, we can ensure that these ancient messages endure not as relics of a forgotten time, but as vibrant expressions of the human spirit. And in doing so, we honor not just the hands that carved them, but the people who carry their legacy forward. Petroglyphs have a way of transcending time, not just through their physical endurance, but also through their ability to inspire stories that resonate across generations. In popular culture, these ancient carvings have become symbols of mystery and discovery, appearing in films, literature, and even video games. Take, for instance, the iconic Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. In this adventure-packed film, petroglyphs serve as cryptic clues leading to hidden treasures, blending the allure of ancient art with the thrill of exploration. While Hollywood may take creative liberties, the portrayal taps into a very real human fascination, our desire to uncover the secrets of the past. Books, too, have embraced petroglyphs as powerful storytelling devices. Jean M. Auel's The Clan of the Cave Bear delves into the lives of prehistoric peoples, using petroglyphs to illustrate how early humans might have communicated their experiences and beliefs. Though fictional, these narratives offer a glimpse into the cultural significance of rock art, imagining how it might have shaped the lives of those who created it. By weaving petroglyphs into their plots, authors invite readers to consider the deeper meanings behind these ancient symbols, sparking curiosity about the lives and minds of our ancestors. Video games have also found creative ways to incorporate petroglyphs into their worlds. In games like Assassin's Creed and Horizon Zero Dawn, players encounter petroglyphs as puzzles or narrative elements, often tied to uncovering lost histories or solving mysteries. These digital interpretations not only introduce a new audience to the beauty of petroglyphs, but also reimagine them as interactive experiences. Players don't just observe the carvings, they engage with them, piecing together stories and solving challenges that bring the ancient world to life in a way that's both educational and entertaining. What makes these cultural portrayals so compelling is their ability to blend fact with fiction. While they may not always be historically accurate, they capture the essence of what petroglyphs represent, a connection to something greater than ourselves. Whether it's a treasure hunter deciphering cryptic symbols or a gamer uncovering ancient lore, these stories remind us of the universal human drive to explore, to understand, and to leave a mark. By bringing petroglyphs into the realm of popular culture, creators ensure that these ancient messages continue to inspire. They remind us that the past isn't just something to study, it's something to imagine, to question, and to celebrate. And in doing so, they invite us to see petroglyphs not just as relics of a bygone era, but as timeless symbols of human creativity and curiosity. Archaeologists are like detectives of the past, piecing together the stories hidden within petroglyphs, one carving at a time. Their work begins with meticulous excavation, carefully uncovering the rock surfaces where these ancient symbols lie. But it doesn't stop there. Documentation is key. Every line, every curve, every detail is recorded with precision, ensuring that nothing is lost to time. This process isn't just about preserving the carvings themselves, it's about understanding the people who made them. By studying the context in which these petroglyphs were created, whether near water sources, in sacred spaces, or along ancient trade routes, archaeologists can uncover clues about the lives, beliefs, and priorities of the people who left these messages behind. One of the most exciting developments in recent years is the use of cutting-edge technology to study and preserve petroglyphs. Tools like 3D scanning and photogrammetry have transformed the field, allowing researchers to create incredibly detailed digital models of these carvings. Imagine being able to zoom in on a spiral or animal figure, examining every groove and texture as if you were standing right in front of it. These digital replicas not only help preserve petroglyphs for future generations, but also make them accessible to people around the world. A student in a classroom, a researcher on the other side of the globe, or even someone simply curious about history can now explore these ancient artworks with the click of a button. But technology doesn't just make petroglyphs more accessible, it also helps archaeologists uncover new insights. For example, by overlaying digital models with environmental data, researchers can analyze how factors like sunlight, shadow, or landscape features might have influenced the placement and meaning of certain carvings. This kind of analysis can reveal patterns that might otherwise go unnoticed, deepening our understanding of how ancient peoples interacted with their environment and each other. Of course, the work of archaeologists isn't just about technology. It's also about collaboration, working with historians, anthropologists, and indigenous communities to piece together the full story behind these carvings. Each perspective adds a new layer of meaning, helping us see petroglyphs not just as isolated symbols but as part of a broader cultural tapestry. Through their dedication and innovation, archaeologists are ensuring that these ancient messages endure. They're not just preserving petroglyphs, they're giving us a window into the lives of the people who created them. And as we continue to uncover their secrets, we're reminded of the timeless human desire to communicate, to create, and to be remembered. As the world grapples with the effects of climate change, one of the unexpected victims is the ancient art of petroglyphs. These enduring carvings, which have survived for thousands of years, are now facing new and unprecedented threats from a rapidly changing environment. Rising global temperatures, shifting weather patterns, and extreme climatic events are accelerating the natural processes of erosion and decay, putting these irreplaceable cultural treasures at risk. In regions where petroglyphs are exposed to the elements, increased rainfall and flooding have become a growing concern. Delicate carvings, already weakened by centuries of weathering, can be washed away in an instant by powerful floodwaters. Imagine a rock face etched with intricate symbols, each one a story or a prayer, suddenly obliterated by a single storm. The loss isn't just physical, it's a blow to our collective memory, erasing pieces of history that can never be recovered. On the other end of the spectrum, prolonged droughts are equally destructive. As temperatures rise and water sources dry up, rock surfaces can become brittle and prone to cracking. In places like the American Southwest, where petroglyphs are carved into sandstone, the combination of heat and aridity can cause entire panels to crumble. These cracks don't just mar the surface, they can split carvings in two, fragmenting the very stories they were meant to preserve. But the challenges don't stop there. Climate change also brings with it more frequent and intense wildfires, which can scorch rock surfaces and leave behind soot and ash that obscure or damage petroglyphs. Even the indirect effects, such as changes in vegetation or wildlife patterns, can alter the microenvironments around these sites, further accelerating their deterioration. It's a multifaceted problem that requires a multifaceted solution. Addressing these threats isn't just a matter of preserving art, it's about safeguarding a connection to our shared human heritage. Conservation efforts are already underway, from installing protective barriers to using advanced technologies like 3D scanning to create digital records of vulnerable carvings. But these measures, while important, are only part of the solution. Tackling the root cause climate change itself requires global action, from reducing carbon emissions to investing in sustainable practices that protect both the environment and the cultural treasures it holds. What's at stake here isn't just the survival of petroglyphs, but the survival of the stories they tell. These carvings are a testament to the creativity, resilience, and ingenuity of the people who came before us. They remind us that, even in the face of adversity, humans have always found ways to express themselves and leave their mark on the world. By working together to address the challenges posed by climate change, we can ensure that these ancient messages endure, not just for future generations, but as a reminder of the enduring power of human connection. The fight to protect petroglyphs is in many ways a fight to protect our planet. It's a reminder that the choices we make today, whether as individuals, communities, or nations, have far-reaching consequences, not just for the environment, but for the cultural heritage that defines who we are. And in that sense, preserving these ancient carvings isn't just about honoring the past, it's about shaping the future. Petroglyphs have become more than just archaeological treasures, they're also cultural landmarks that draw visitors from every corner of the globe. Places like Newspaper Rock in Utah, the Altar Rock art in Norway, and the Dampier Archipelago in Australia have become must-see destinations for travelers seeking a connection to humanity's ancient past. For many, standing before these carvings is a profound experience, a chance to touch history and feel a link to the people who came before us. But with popularity comes challenges. As more people flock to these sites, the risk of damage increases. Foot traffic alone can wear down rock surfaces over time, while the temptation to touch or even deface the carvings can lead to irreversible harm. Imagine a delicate spiral carefully carved thousands of years ago, slowly fading under the pressure of thousands of hands, or a panel of animal figures once vibrant with meaning, now obscured by scratches or graffiti. These aren't just hypothetical scenarios, they're real threats faced by some of the world's most cherished petroglyph sites. The impact of tourism isn't all negative, though. Visitors can play a vital role in raising awareness about the importance of these carvings, sparking interest in their preservation and supporting local economies. Many sites rely on tourism revenue to fund conservation efforts, from maintaining protective barriers to training staff who can educate visitors about the cultural and historical significance of the carvings. When done thoughtfully, tourism can be a force for good, helping to ensure that these ancient messages endure for generations to come. The key lies in finding a balance, a way to share these treasures with the world while protecting them from harm. One effective approach is the use of guided tours, where knowledgeable guides lead small groups through the sites, explaining the history and meaning behind the carvings while ensuring that visitors respect the fragile environment. These tours not only enhance the visitor experience, but also provide an opportunity to educate people about the importance of preservation. Another strategy is the implementation of visitor education programs. Interactive exhibits, informational signage, and digital tools like augmented reality can help people understand the significance of petroglyphs without the need to touch or disturb them. By fostering a sense of respect and stewardship, these programs empower visitors to become advocates for preservation, carrying the message beyond the site itself. Ultimately, the challenge of balancing tourism and preservation is a shared responsibility. It's up to all of us travelers, local communities, and governments to ensure that these ancient carvings are treated with the care and respect they deserve. By embracing responsible tourism practices, we can protect these fragile sites while still allowing people to experience their beauty and significance. After all, petroglyphs aren't just relics of the past, they're living connections to our shared human story, and it's up to us to keep those connections alive. As we explore these ancient sites, let's remember that we're not just visitors, we're stewards. Every step we take, every choice we make, can help ensure that these messages in stone continue to inspire and educate for generations to come. And in doing so, we honor not just the people who created them, but the timeless human spirit that drives us to connect, to create, and to endure. In the digital age, the tools we use to preserve history have evolved in ways that would have been unimaginable to the ancient artists who first carved petroglyphs into stone. Today, cutting-edge technologies like high-resolution photography, 3D modeling, and virtual reality are revolutionizing how we study, protect, and share these ancient messages. Imagine being able to examine every groove and curve of a petroglyph from the comfort of your home, or stepping into a virtual recreation of an ancient site, feeling as though you're standing right there among the carvings. These digital innovations aren't just about convenience, they're about ensuring that these fragile treasures endure for generations to come. High-resolution photography is one of the most powerful tools in this digital arsenal. By capturing detailed images of petroglyphs, researchers can create a permanent record of these carvings, preserving their intricate details even as the physical rock faces weather and erode over time. But it's not just about documenting the present. These photographs also allow us to compare changes over time, tracking how exposure to the elements, human activity, or even climate change might be affecting these ancient artworks. 3D modeling takes this preservation effort a step further. Using advanced scanning technology, researchers can create incredibly accurate digital replicas of petroglyphs, capturing every texture, depth, and shadow. These models aren't just static images, they're interactive, allowing users to zoom in, rotate, and explore the carvings from every angle. This level of detail is invaluable for researchers who can analyze the carvings in ways that would be impossible with the naked eye. But it's also a game changer for education and public engagement, making these ancient artworks accessible to people who might never have the chance to visit the sites in person. Virtual reality adds yet another layer to this digital preservation. Imagine putting on a VR headset and finding yourself transported to a remote cliffside in the American Southwest or a windswept plateau in Scandinavia, surrounded by the very petroglyphs that have fascinated humanity for centuries. These immersive experiences aren't just visually stunning, they're emotionally impactful, offering a sense of connection to the people who created these carvings and the landscapes they inhabited. For students, history enthusiasts, or anyone curious about the past, virtual reality opens up a world of exploration and discovery that was once out of reach. Digital archives play a crucial role in this preservation effort as well. By storing detailed records of petroglyphs in secure, accessible databases, researchers ensure that this knowledge isn't lost, even if the physical sites are damaged or destroyed. These archives also make it easier to share information across borders, enabling collaboration between experts from different fields and cultures. It's a way to democratize access to these ancient treasures, ensuring that they're not just preserved, but understood and appreciated by as many people as possible. What's truly remarkable about these digital tools is how they bridge the gap between the ancient and the modern. They allow us to engage with petroglyphs in ways that honor their creators while embracing the possibilities of today's technology. Whether it's through a high-resolution photograph, a 3D model, or a virtual reality experience, these digital innovations remind us that the past isn't something static. It's a living, breathing story that we can explore, learn from, and protect. By using technology to preserve and share these ancient messages, we're not just safeguarding petroglyphs, we're ensuring that their stories continue to inspire, educate, and connect us across time and space. In a world where so much is fleeting, these digital tools offer a way to make the past a permanent part of our future. And in doing so, they remind us that the human desire to create, to communicate, and to endure is as timeless as the stones themselves. The symbols etched into ancient stone are more than just shapes. They are a language, a way for our ancestors to communicate ideas, beliefs, and stories without words. Circles, spirals, zigzags, and animal figures aren't random designs. They are steeped in meaning, each one a reflection of the culture that created it. Take, for example, the simple circle. In many ancient societies, this shape was more than just a geometric form. It symbolized the sun, a source of life and energy, or the endless cycle of life, death, and rebirth. A spiral, on the other hand, might represent the journey of the soul, the passage of time, or the winding path into the unknown. These symbols weren't chosen at random. They were deliberate, carrying layers of significance that we're only beginning to understand. Zigzag lines, another common motif, often hold their own mysteries. In some cultures, these jagged patterns are thought to represent water, a vital resource in arid landscapes, or lightning, a powerful force associated with divine energy. The meaning of these symbols can shift depending on their context. A zigzag carved near a river might signify the flow of water, while the same symbol found in a high, rocky outcrop could evoke the crack of thunder or the presence of a storm god. Decoding these meanings isn't just about recognizing the shapes, it's about understanding the worldview of the people who created them. Animals, too, play a central role in petroglyph symbolism. A carving of a bison might not just depict a hunt, it could represent strength, abundance, or even a spiritual connection to the animal itself. In some cultures, animals were seen as messengers or guides, bridging the gap between the human and spirit worlds. A deer, for instance, might symbolize grace and agility, while a whale could evoke themes of depth, mystery, and the vastness of the ocean. These carvings weren't just artistic expressions, they were ways to honor the natural world and the creatures that sustained life. But here's the challenge: symbols don't always mean the same thing across cultures. A spiral in one region might represent the sun, while in another it could signify the soul's journey. A zigzag in one context might symbolize water, while in another it could evoke the idea of a boundary or a protective barrier. This variability is part of what makes decoding petroglyphs so fascinating and so complex. To truly understand these symbols, we need to look beyond the carvings themselves and consider the broader cultural, environmental, and spiritual context in which they were created. What's remarkable is how these symbols continue to resonate with us today. Even without a guidebook or a Rosetta Stone, we can still feel the weight of their meaning, the echo of a story that transcends time and language. They remind us that art is more than just decoration. It's a way to connect, to communicate, and to make sense of the world. And as we study these ancient symbols, we're not just uncovering the past, we're rediscovering the threads that bind us to the people who came before us, and to the timeless human desire to create, to express, and to endure. By exploring these symbols, we're not just decoding petroglyphs, we're stepping into the minds of the artists who carved them, seeing the world through their eyes and honoring the stories they left behind. And in doing so, we're reminded that the language of symbols is universal, a bridge that connects us across time, culture, and distance. Petroglyphs offer more than just a glimpse into ancient cultures. They provide a window into the very evolution of human thought. The ability to create and interpret symbols is one of the defining traits of our species, setting us apart from other forms of life. These carvings, etched into stone by early humans, represent some of the first attempts to communicate abstract ideas, marking a pivotal moment in our cognitive development. They're not just art, they're evidence of the moment humanity began to think beyond the immediate and tangible, to imagine, to conceptualize, and to connect. Consider what it takes to create a symbol. It's not just about skill or technique, it's about the capacity to assign meaning to something that doesn't inherently possess it. A spiral isn't just a shape, it's a representation of cycles, of journeys, of the infinite. An animal figure isn't just a drawing, it's a story, a prayer, or a warning. This leap from concrete to abstract thought is a cornerstone of human intelligence, and petroglyphs are among the earliest records of this transformative shift. By studying these carvings, researchers can trace the development of language, art, and even social organization. For example, the repetition of certain symbols across different sites suggests that early humans shared a common understanding of their meaning, hinting at the emergence of a proto-language. These symbols might have served as a precursor to written communication, a way to share ideas and stories without relying solely on spoken words. In this sense, petroglyphs aren't just a form of expression, they're a milestone in the evolution of human communication. The creation of petroglyphs also reflects the development of artistic and cultural practices. Early humans didn't just carve images for practical purposes, they did so with intention, often choosing locations that held spiritual or communal significance. This suggests a growing awareness of identity and belonging, a recognition of the self within a larger social and cosmic framework. The act of carving itself, labor-intensive and often communal, points to the importance of shared experiences and collective memory in shaping early societies. But perhaps the most fascinating aspect of petroglyphs is what they reveal about the human capacity for imagination. To look at a rock and see not just its surface, but a canvas for stories, symbols, and meaning is a uniquely human trait. It's a testament to our ability to transcend the immediate, to dream, to create, and to connect across time and space. These carvings remind us that the roots of our creativity, our curiosity, and our need to communicate stretch back thousands of years, woven into the very fabric of who we are. As we study these ancient symbols, we're not just uncovering the past, we're exploring the origins of our own minds. Every spiral, every figure, every line is a piece of the puzzle, helping us understand how we became the thinkers, dreamers, and storytellers we are today. And in doing so, we're reminded that the story of human evolution isn't just written in our bones or our genes. It's etched in stone, waiting for us to decode its secrets and carry its lessons forward. By examining petroglyphs through the lens of cognitive evolution, we gain a deeper appreciation for their significance. They're not just relics of the past, they're markers of a profound transformation, a moment when humanity began to see the world not just as it was, but as it could be. And in that moment, we see the seeds of everything that makes us human: our creativity, our curiosity, and our endless desire to connect, to communicate, and to create. Decoding the secrets of petroglyphs isn't a task for a single field of study. It's a puzzle that requires the combined efforts of multiple disciplines, each bringing its own unique lens and tools to the table. Archaeologists might focus on the physical context of the carvings, analyzing the tools used to create them and the landscapes where they're found. Anthropologists, on the other hand, delve into the cultural and social practices of the people who made them, offering insights into their beliefs, rituals, and daily lives. Art historians examine the aesthetics and techniques behind the carvings, while astronomers might study celestial patterns depicted in the symbols. Together, these fields form a mosaic of knowledge, each piece essential to understanding the whole. Take, for instance, the role of archaeology in uncovering the practical side of petroglyph creation. By studying the tools and techniques used to carve these symbols, researchers can piece together the labor-intensive process behind them. Imagine a team of archaeologists carefully analyzing the grooves of a petroglyph, trying to determine whether it was made with a stone hammer, a sharpened bone, or another tool. These details might seem small, but they reveal a lot about the skill and resourcefulness of the artists. Anthropology adds another layer to the story, exploring the cultural context in which these carvings were made. For example, if a petroglyph depicts a hunting scene, anthropologists might look at how hunting practices were integrated into the community's social structure or spiritual beliefs. Were these carvings part of a ritual to ensure a successful hunt, or were they a way to celebrate a recent victory? By connecting the symbols to the lives of the people who created them, anthropologists help us see petroglyphs not just as art, but as expressions of identity and tradition. Art history brings its own perspective, focusing on the visual language of petroglyphs. How do the shapes, lines, and patterns reflect the artistic traditions of the time? Are there recurring motifs that suggest a shared cultural understanding? By analyzing the aesthetics of these carvings, art historians can shed light on the evolution of artistic expression and how it was influenced by the environment, technology, and spirituality of the time. And then there's astronomy, which offers a celestial perspective on petroglyphs. Some carvings, like those at Choco Canyon in New Mexico, are thought to depict astronomical events such as eclipses or solstices. By studying these symbols alongside historical records of celestial phenomena, astronomers can help decode their meanings, revealing how ancient peoples understood and interacted with the cosmos. This interdisciplinary approach doesn't just enrich our understanding of petroglyphs, it transforms how we see them. What might appear as simple shapes or patterns to the untrained eye become, through this collaborative effort, complex narratives that speak to the ingenuity, creativity, and worldview of the people who created them. It's a reminder that no single perspective can fully capture the richness of these ancient messages. By bringing together experts from diverse fields, we're not just decoding symbols, we're building a bridge between the past and the present, connecting ancient voices with modern knowledge. And in doing so, we're reminded that the study of petroglyphs isn't just about uncovering history. It's about understanding the shared human experience that transcends time, culture, and discipline. As we stand on the brink of a new era in archaeology and technology, the future of petroglyph research is brimming with possibilities. The tools and methods we use to study these ancient carvings are evolving at an unprecedented pace, offering us fresh insights into the lives and beliefs of the people who created them. Imagine a world where artificial intelligence can analyze thousands of petroglyphs in seconds, identifying patterns and connections that might have taken humans years to uncover. Or where augmented reality allows us to step into a virtual recreation of an ancient site, experiencing the carvings as they might have looked when they were first made. These advancements aren't just exciting, they're transformative, opening doors to discoveries we can barely begin to imagine. One of the most promising areas of research lies in the intersection of archaeology and technology. High-resolution 3D scanning, for instance, is revolutionizing how we document and preserve petroglyphs. By creating detailed digital replicas, we can study these carvings without risking damage to the originals. But the benefits go beyond preservation. These digital models can be analyzed in ways that were once impossible, revealing fine details and subtle patterns that might hold the key to unlocking their meaning. Researchers can even use software to simulate how sunlight or moonlight might have interacted with the carvings, offering clues about their possible ceremonial or astronomical significance. At the same time, advancements in machine learning are helping us decode the symbols themselves. By training algorithms on known patterns and meanings, scientists can identify recurring motifs and suggest interpretations for previously enigmatic carvings. For example, a spiral that appears across multiple sites might be linked to seasonal cycles or spiritual journeys, offering a glimpse into the shared beliefs of ancient peoples. These technologies aren't replacing human intuition and expertise, they're enhancing it, giving researchers new tools to explore the mysteries of the past. But the future of petroglyphs isn't just about technology, it's also about collaboration. Indigenous communities who have long been the stewards of these ancient sites are playing an increasingly central role in research and preservation efforts. Their traditional knowledge, passed down through generations, offers invaluable insights into the meanings and significance of these carvings. By working together, scientists and indigenous leaders are creating a more holistic understanding of petroglyphs, one that honors both the scientific and cultural dimensions of these ancient artworks. Looking ahead, the lessons we learn from petroglyphs may extend far beyond the past. As we grapple with modern challenges like climate change, cultural preservation, and the impact of technology, these ancient carvings remind us of the enduring power of human creativity and resilience. They show us that even in the face of uncertainty, we have the capacity to innovate, to adapt, and to leave a lasting mark on the world. The study of petroglyphs is more than just an exploration of history. It's a journey that connects us to the past, enriches our present, and shapes our future. By continuing to uncover their secrets, we're not just preserving ancient art, we're ensuring that the voices of those who came before us continue to inspire, educate, and guide us for generations to come. Petroglyphs are far more than ancient carvings. They are a profound testament to the creativity, spirituality, and ingenuity of the people who came before us. These enduring messages etched into stone serve as a bridge across time, connecting us to the minds and hearts of our ancestors. From their origins thousands of years ago to their lasting presence in our modern world, petroglyphs continue to captivate, challenge, and inspire us. They remind us that the human desire to communicate, to create, and to leave a mark is as old as humanity itself. Decoding the secrets of these ancient symbols isn't just about uncovering the past, it's about understanding the threads that weave our shared history together. Whether they depict celestial events, spiritual journeys, or the rhythms of daily life, petroglyphs offer us a glimpse into the beliefs, struggles, and triumphs of those who carved them. They invite us to see the world through their eyes, to feel the weight of their stories, and to reflect on the universal experiences that bind us across time and culture. As we stand at the intersection of the past and the present, it's worth considering how we can honor and preserve this incredible legacy. These carvings are fragile, vulnerable to the forces of nature and human activity. By supporting conservation efforts, embracing responsible tourism, and fostering collaboration with indigenous communities, we can ensure that these ancient messages endure for generations to come. After all, petroglyphs aren't just relics of a bygone era. They are living reminders of the power of human expression and the enduring need to connect. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the world of petroglyphs. If you've enjoyed exploring these ancient mysteries with us, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's continue the conversation. What do these symbols mean to you? How do they inspire you to think about our shared human story? Together, we can keep these voices from the past alive, ensuring that their stories continue to resonate in the hearts and minds of future generations. Until next time, keep exploring, keep wondering, and keep discovering the extraordinary